brand new day with Mo and News. It's time to have your say. She's got the scoop, the stories, all the latest trends. Mo's got the news, let's hear it, my dear friends. From politics to showbiz, no story's too small. Mo covers it all. She's got the inside call, her voice so smooth, like honey in the summer sun. With Mo on the mic, you know the news is always fun. Mornings with Mo, the best newsy news in the world. With her style so classic and her stories unfurled. From morning till night, she's got us in the know. Turn on your radio, let Mo's newsy news flow.
Good morning, everyone. It is the 15th of January, and we have a lot of news, a lot of crazy, as per generally usual. Welcome, Wolfram. Thank you for doing your mod duties. Welcome, Super T and Christine. I hope you're having a good morning. Tammy and Carol Sue Scott and Alice G. Good morning. And then Rayanne, good morning. And Janie J. So our first story, listen, sweetie, sweetheart, this is kind of how my first marriage went. I mean, not gonna lie, I wasn't a millionaire, but I did have a husband facing legal trouble. Oh, thank you. I don't know why it keeps...
There we go. It should be back on my hyper quad. For some reason, it has been going to my my webcam, which is weird because it used to always go here. So I don't know, but thank you guys for letting me know. A bride in the viral $56 million wedding of the century reveals she's pregnant as her husband faces charges for allegedly shooting at cops. He really did. He got a Godzilla Chia pet as kind of a random gift because he kind of got a big combined birthday Christmas gift of his own choice, but we kind of have a budget, and what he wanted, he asked, can I combine this? So, yes, he's been very excited. He got a new tablet and he's been loving that, and we got it fully encased in carbonate. So hopefully he won't be able to wreck this one. Yeah, a $56 million wedding. So I think I did this story about a year ago, but this wedding was huge, and the husband seems to have gotten in a little bit of a shootout right after or prior to. So the Texas heiress who went viral for her $59 million Parisian wedding of the century is expecting her first baby with her felony suspect husband, who is facing time behind bars for allegedly shooting at 3 police officers. Oh, her dad has to just be so tickled pink. You have no idea. Her dad's just loving life right now. Meline Brockway shared the life-changing news on Instagram, showing an extravagant cake at her recent gender reveal party in Paris, France. I mean, who doesn't go to Paris, France to have a gender reveal like all of us? 18 weeks with our little bean, she wrote, tagging her husband, Jacob Legrand. Brockway, the heiress to several Mercedes-Benz dealerships in Florida, chowed down on a pink piece of cake and celebrated her unborn baby girl. Now, the soon-to-be dad is, however, in the middle of a court battle where he faces charges for felony aggravated assault against a public servant, stemming from a March 2023 police shootout. Now, police reported to a home in Tarrant County, Texas, after receiving multiple calls of a disturbance at the couple's $1.4 million home following a night out. The then engaged couple's fight spilled onto the driveway before Brockway fled to her parents' nearby home. Bob Brockway, Melanie's father, went to the couple's home and called the police to conduct a wellness check on Legrand, as you do. Legrand allegedly shot at 3 officers from inside his garage when police arrived. He was arrested, but released from jail on $20,000 bond. Well, I guess it really must be nice to be rich because I'm pretty sure if you lived in the inner city and only had great value groceries and you know, decided to go downrange at officers, you wouldn't be getting bond. Now, Legrand was indicted in August 2023 for intentionally and knowingly threatening imminent bodily injury and did exhibit or use a weapon during the commission of the assault, namely a firearm, the indictment read. I mean, he looks like a little douche McDouche face. The couple then got married weeks after the felony indictment because it was love at first felony. The lavish wedding was held at Chateau de Villers, 25 miles northwest of Paris. If I'm her dad, I'm gonna be like, no money. If you're getting married to this douche canoe, I rescind any offers to pay for this. There was an over the top reception that followed the ceremony at the Paris Opera House. Maroon 5 performed for the couple's first dance and then put on an entire private concert. Brockway's wedding also included an overnight stay at the Palace of Versailles. Photos of the wedding went viral, boosting the unknown bride to an overnight sensation. Her internet fame was short lived as her husband was back stateside for a pretrial court appearance 2 weeks after their nuptials. Legrand stood with his head down inside Tarrant County District Court without his wife. And Jen Devka, thank you for becoming a new member. Welcome to the Church of Mo. We have dark chocolate sarcasm and a lot of wigs. I think it's monthly. I always get very I'm glad they have auto removal on stuff because I wouldn't remember to save my life. Now, yeah, marriage is not for everyone. You are correct. Now, Brockway deleted her TikTok account and changed her Instagram to private over the court hearing. The expectant mother has since made her Instagram public and continues to share her lavish lifestyle with her 47,000 followers, with zero mentions of her husband's legal troubles. Now, Legrand was handed a plea deal that would give him 25 years behind bars for going a trial during the hearing. If the case goes to trial and Legrand is convicted, he faces anywhere between less than 5 years behind bars and life in prison. A status conference for the case is scheduled for February 6, 2025. Yeah, he's going to get a slap on the wrist. Let's be real. Well, it looks like the case is heating or okay, now I understand. I put the stories in the wrong order. The case is heating up for a North Carolina woman who was last seen getting into a stranger's car on a doorbell camera because she was found passed away in the woods, or obviously dead in the woods. So this is now a murder. This is now going to be a much more, in-depth investigation. It is no longer a missing person, investigation. A cognitively impaired North Carolina woman was last seen alive on a doorbell camera getting into a stranger's car last week. She has been found, or her body was found in the woods just miles from where she disappeared. Heather Williams, 25, was captured on a Ring doorbell leaving her family's Fayetteville home and getting into a light-colored sedan with a sunroof about 10 p.m. January 4th, according to local law enforcement. The Fayetteville Police Department launched a missing persons investigation into Williams's disappearance and issued an endangered person alert on January 7th due to her cognitive impairment. However, the 25-year-old's body was found by police officers in a wooded area around 4 p.m. Friday, about 5 miles where she was last seen alive, the department said in a statement Saturday. Williams' death is being investigated as a homicide. It's with a heavy and broken heart that our family confirms the horrific news, her sister Mary Williams wrote on Facebook Saturday. I pray whoever is responsible for this is held accountable and there is justice for Heather. Mary told WRAL that the family did not know the person driving the vehicle and speculated that Williams, who suffered cognitive impairment and limited speech, uh, also limited use of her right arm and leg after she was struck by a car in 2015, she may have met this individual online. She was just so trusting and naive to what the dangers were, she said. The same way day Williams' body was found, police located the suspected vehicle. I just ask that people out there, if they hear anything or see something, someone who knows something, someone's talked to somebody, somebody has, they slip up along the way. Mary told WRAL. Someone has to know something. Uh, Investigators confirmed to CBS 17 that they do have some leads that they are looking into, but they have yet to identify a person of interest. What happened to Heather is awful, and I don't want it to happen to anyone else. So, with that person still out there, still able to harm other people, it's horrific to think about, Mary told CBS 17. Mary said her family has found comfort in the love that Heather had for God. And through all her trials and tribulations, she never lost faith, and they know that they won't lose ours or theirs. Investigators asked for anyone with information about the Williams case to contact Fayetteville police. So this looks like a case that is going to be a big one. And unfortunately, the story didn't end the way anyone who was searching for her thought it was going to end. Well, if you're a douche in public, you will be found. There are entire groups of people that have nothing better to do with their lives than to find a-holes. There is an entire internet section of a-hole Avengers. Internet sleuths tracked down a repulsive Eagles fan, and his life at a DEI focused company is ruined. Yeah, maybe don't be an unrepented a hole if you work in a very forward facing sort of public endeavor that's all about inclusion and equality. A viral and revolting incident in the stands of the NFL playoff game Sunday has already earned one football fan a lifetime ban from Lincoln Financial Field, and it ended up costing him his job. The fan, identified as Ryan Caldwell, was captured on video heckling a female Packers fan and reportedly called her a dumb C word. He could have at least said cahooned. You're in public. Let's be classy. While her fiance, Alexander Basara, filmed the entire altercation in the stands during Sunday's wildcard game in Philadelphia, an Eagles win over the Packers. Caldwell has been banned from all future events at Lincoln Financial Field, a source with knowledge of the situation confirmed to the Post. And his employer, BCT Partners, a DEI focused management consulting firm based in East Brunswick, New Jersey, is involved. Excuse me. The management at BCT Partners has been made aware of a video circulating involving an employee making offensive remarks outside the workplace, the company said in a statement released Monday on X without naming the employee. BCT Partners denounces this type of behavior, and we take this matter extremely seriously. As an organization that has always stood for inclusivity, the conduct displayed was completely unacceptable and stands in direct opposition to our company values. We already have begun a full investigation as an internal personnel matter to determine what actions will be taken, and we sincerely apologize to everyone affected by this behavior and remain committed to fostering a culture for respect for all. Later Tuesday, BCT Partners decided to fire Caldwell. Now, according to Internet Sleuths, the fan is a project manager with the company. BCT Partners aims to, quote, harness the power of diversity, insights, and innovation to transform lives, accelerate equality, and create lasting change. Okay, I'm not all up on newspeak, but what the hell does that mean? I mean, what product are you creating or masterminding with this statement to harness the power of diversity, insights, and innovation to transform lives. Your ideas is not educated, but this seems like a company that does nothing for no one. I mean, hey, that might just be my kind of Midwest, like, does it make something? Does it make a widget? Does it, make a position? Like, what the hell do you guys do? You just tell people like, "Hey, be diverse, maybe listen to other." I don't get it. Now, Cadwell's LinkedIn page no longer exists and his social media accounts have been deleted. The Eagles will take actions against the heckler, according to a local report. Big Dom has identified the guy and woman involved in this incident, Eric Gunn, an Eagles podcaster, reported, referring to Dom DeSandro, a senior advisor to the general manager slash chief security officer, game day coach operations for the Eagles. This guy has been banned from future Eagles games, and the Eagles will be sending the woman Packers gear as an apology. The Eagles, once again, showing what a class act organization they are. Now, Basara shared the video and explained that the man's heckling was unprovoked. They were simply cheering for Green Bay. Don't call her a dumb C word, Basara told the man who doubled down on his insults. Well, she's an ugly dumb C word, the Eagles fan says. The woman wasn't fazed. I'm ugly, she said, pretending to cry. So hurt. Basara explained that he wanted no part in a physical altercation. It was a tough situation, he wrote on X, surrounded by hostile people, including two of his buddies, one his brother. If I got into a physical, there was no good ending there. In the video, another man was seen taping the Eagles fan's shoulder, but the heckling only escalated. The Eagles have yet to publicly address the incident. Philadelphia won from 22-10 to advance to the divisional round. So don't let it get too deep. If you are watching this sports ball and you have nothing nice to say, get yourself some popcorn, buy yourself a beer, and be quiet and watch your football game. I don't. Now, in another story that makes you just want to go, ew, there is not enough Purell and burn those sheets. Burn those sheets, burn whatever Airbnb she had to the ground because this is where gonorrhea syphilitis super happens. This is where we make super AIDS. You guys, stop doing this. What? This is not an achievement. Holy God, what is wrong with people? OnlyFans Bonnie Blue claims that she had the smexy time with 1,057 men in 12 hours. She broke a world record. Well, I didn't know we had a Ho Olympics, but there we go. Actually, I would watch the Ho Olympics. I am not gonna lie, if TLC put on the Ho Olympics, I would I would be watching. I would have a favorite country, okay? It'd probably be America. Let's see here. I mean, just ew, like, you're gonna ew. OnlyFans influencer Bonnie Blue claims that she has broken the world record for having the most relations with men in the space of 12 hours. Blue, who hails from England, allegedly slept with 1,057 people within a 12-hour period over the weekend, her publicist told The Sun in a story published on Monday, January 13th. The ex worker sex worker has surfaced on Instagram expressing gratitude toward her clientele. She's thanking them. Thank you, come again. With your 10th service, you get a click on that and you get one free. I just don't know if Hallmark has a card for that. Thanks for helping me win my world record in the Ho Olympics. Okay. She joked that she doesn't need a wheelchair and she's just fine. It feels like I've had a heavy day in the bedroom, which is exactly what I've had. How are you gonna get workman's comp if you don't lie, ma'am? On Sunday, January 12th, Blue posted a clip to TikTok in which she showed herself with a glowing complexion, telling followers, "This is what my face looks like after taking 1,000 men less than 12 hours ago." In yet another TikTok, her mom, I I don't care what you want to do, Miss, you know, Queen of Hoocracy, but your parents have to be so incredibly embarrassed. Can you imagine trying to go to the corner shop and you're like, "Oh, Gladys, how's your daughter?" And Gladys's daughter's, a pediatrician or a GP, and then, Dolores's daughter's a solicitor, Linda has to say, "No, my daughter's the queen of the hose." You better get your parents a good gift, but don't use your sex money, okay? That's really weird. She recalled the experience as being a series of group sexual sessions in the beginning. The room was absolutely full, Blue recalled. We did groups of 5. I'm not a mathologist. 5. I can understand a trio. I'm not trying to be graphical. I can understand a trio, but where do you put the other 2? And here I thought I knew everything about smut. If I I didn't account for hands. Okay, you guys are right. I assumed you would be holding on for dear life to something. Well, I guess you would be holding. I'm a I'm I'm just gonna step away from this and not circle back because I just realized I can't even comprehend the mental and physical stamina required for this. Are you sure you're not a robot? No, no, this is not an achievement. This is not an achievement. This is not like I am the Rosa Parks of smut. No, you are not you you are not. Good Lord. Uh, Blue is not the only fans user that's been participating in this, as Lily Phillips completed her 100-man challenge and now has the new goal for 1,000 men. My parents knew straight from the start what I was doing, Phillips, 23, said in a YouTube documentary. I slept with 100 men in one day. I was very upfront about it. Obviously, at the start, they were a bit apprehensive because they want me to be safe and they want me to make. Who has this conversation with their parents? Like, "Hey, mom, now I know you said to get a career in advertising, but what I plan to advertise is my lady bits, and I plan to show them all over the world, so when dad goes to, like, into a gas station, he has to use the restroom, he can see a picture of all my lady bits just everywhere. My dad can question whether any of his friends have, given themselves a little hand sandwich to my pictures." What is wrong with it? Her mom's her man. I give up. I give up. I can't. Well, there you go. Burn those sheets, burn the mattress, and possibly Purell your entire body. Yeah. I mean, it's honestly kind of weird. When we announce pregnancy, we are somewhat, acknowledging that what goes on to get a baby. That's about as comfortable with my, nightly activities as I wanna get with my parents. Like, "Oh, look, I'm pregnant again." We don't know how it happens. Well, looks like Elon may be in a bit of a skerfuffle with the SEC. Now, I will be full in my transparency that I don't quite understand the stock market at all. So I am not quite sure what it is he's being charged with, but let's see. The SEC sues Elon Musk for alleged failure to file timely disclosure of Twitter share purchases. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission is suing Elon Musk for allegedly failing to properly disclose his purchase of Twitter shares before buying the company currently known as X. The SEC filed the lawsuit Tuesday, less than a week before President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration and Musk's new role as co-leader of the proposed Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, Presidential Advisory Committee. According to the lawsuit, Musk purchased a significant number of Twitter shares before he paid $44 billion to buy Twitter in October 2022. Musk is accused of failing to disclose this to the SEC within 10 calendar days that he owned more than 5% of the company's stock in March 2022. Musk had disclosed that he had already purchased more than $50 million dollars worth of Twitter stock by April 4th, 2022, when he owned more than 9% of the company and announced he would join Twitter's board. Now, according to the complaint filed in federal court in Washington, D.C., Musk underpaid Twitter investors by more than $150 million for his purchases of Twitter common stock during this period. Once Musk disclosed his stake in the company, Twitter's stock price increased more than 27%. By October 2022, Musk had backed out of Twitter's board seat and ended up purchasing the company outright. So this does look like it is sort of a last-ditch effort. And honestly, while I'm not a mathologist, $150 million for Elon Musk is maybe like $1,000 for normal people. Like, it's going to sting a little, but it's not going to be, life-changing. So just pay him the money. Don't sue him. We have enough to do in this government, I think. Well, sometimes. Perhaps ask how much something is going to be before you order it. It seems like something that I would do. A woman fumes after a Chinese restaurant charges $380 for a 4.5-pound live lobster. That's a shit ton of lobster, too. Holy God. A woman was handed a staggering $944.33 bill, or $584.88 in US dollars, at an Australian Chinese restaurant, and has hit out at the establishment online. Rihanna Ho from Perth said the incident occurred at Canton Lane Chinese restaurant on Friday night, where she dined with a group of 8. While the party ordered 8 dishes total, it was the live lobster that sent the bill soaring. The costly crustacean, priced an eye-watering $615 or $380 US. He'd been informed beforehand that the lobster's price would vary on its weight and the market price, so he had kind of known that this could be pricey, but maybe they didn't quite understand that. Now, she does claim that the staff failed to disclose the price per kilogram or even inform her that there were 5 additional servings of noodles that would cost $15 each. I thought I paid the bill. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off, she wrote in a Facebook post. A phone call, to the restaurant the following day revealed that the lobster weighed 4.5 pounds and was priced at $120 per pound. A detail Ho said she wasn't, made aware of at the time of ordering. We didn't assume that the lobster would be cheap, but based on common sense, the typical price per pound is usually $60 to $70. Even during festive periods, it seems unreasonable for the price to skyrocket to $120 per pound. If the lobster truly weighed 4.5 pounds, the head should have been huge and noticeable, but no one on the table saw it. Locals were on her side, saying the restaurant should have been more clear about the cost. Who goes ahead and cooks a meal worth upwards of $600 without letting the diner know beforehand that this was going to be extremely expensive? You guys could have said, "Hey, what's the market going for this poundage? Could you give me a small lobster? Do we have to have a large lobster?" And they ate it, so I don't understand. Let's see here. The restaurant's management responded to saying that the price and weight of the lobster had not been communicated properly, but defended their actions. They clarified that the lobster's head was removed for cooking and that this has been their method since the restaurant opened. We didn't see the point of wasting the meat of the head just for display purposes, the management says. They also explained that rising market prices due to the festive period increased exports to China and the costs soar. We've been running this restaurant for 8 years and it's been smooth, they said. So they haven't been deceiving anyone. Yes, squid. I will try to keep that on the down low. What in the Hades in a handbasket? And then y'all wonder why I'm terrified of hospitals. Quote, "You can't be alive. You're dead." Mix-up led to family removing the wrong man from life support, a lawsuit says. Okay, how do you screw up that monumentally? Like, how do you look at the ID, look at the person, look at the ID, look at the person, and go, "No, I mean, it looks sorta close, we'll be fine." That's my big fear. Can you imagine? So, my ID looks nothing like me, and I really feel that for me, my driver's license should have hair subject to change. Two families are suing Washington state hospital after one family removed a loved one from life support, only to later find out that the man who died was actually their loved one's roommate. And welcome, Shizzy Raiders. Thanks for joining. The bizarre case of mistaken identity occurred in August 2021 at Peace Health Southwest Medical Center in Vancouver, Washington, according to the lawsuit obtained by Law and Crime. Weeks earlier, on August 2021, 69-year-old Davis Wells choked on a piece of steak while eating at a group home where he lived. His roommate, Michael Beeler, called 911, and the paramedics rushed Wells to the hospital, where he was declared brain dead and put on life support. But the hospital identified Wells incorrectly, and he was put into the hospital system under Beeler's name instead. Peace Health called plaintiff Beeler's sister, plaintiff Debbie Danielson, and forced her to make a life or death decision to keep her brother on or off life support, the lawsuit said. It was filed last month in Clark County Superior Court. Plaintiff Danielson made the difficult choice to terminate life support for Mr. Wells, believing him to be her brother. Danielson spent the next few days alerting other family members of her brother's death and planning a funeral. There was even a death notice in the local paper saying that Bueller had died at the age of 60. But a few days later, she made the shocking discovery that her brother wasn't dead. He was very much alive and on the other end of a phone call. "I said, 'You can't be alive, you're dead,'" Danielson told Portland, Oregon NBC affiliate KGW, which first reported about the incident last year. Authorities retrieved the body from the funeral home and confirmed it to be Wells. The revelation stunned Bueller's family, and while they were relieved that Bueller was alive, they felt incredibly guilty. "We made life-ending decisions for a person we don't even know," Danielson's husband, Gary Danielson, told KGW. Thinking back on it, however, Daniel Garrison thought it was odd when the funeral home didn't require them to identify Bueller's body. When we went to the funeral director, I was like, "Don't we need to identify him?" And he said, "No, we'll just take it from here." Bueller was especially befuddled. "He's dead, and I'm supposed to be dead. Who knows what's going on?" he said in an interview with KGW. Per the TV station, the Clark County Medical Examiner's Office notified Wells' son, who lives in California, of his father's death, but they never told him about the mix-up, and he was only alerted about it 2 years later when a KGW reporter told him about it. "It's disturbing, and I don't know if I'm going to get over it. They dropped the ball so egregiously," Sean Wells, who is also a plaintiff in the lawsuit, told the outlet. The lawsuit is accusing the hospital of negligence, alleging its workers violated their duty and breached the applicable standards. Plaintiffs suffered a severe emotional distress as a direct result of the defendant's extreme and outrageous conduct. In response, filed December 23rd, the hospital denies allegations. I can't imagine. Peace Health has worked diligently to strengthen our patient identification process, along with our continued collaboration with multiple community agencies involved in healthcare, including EMS. The hospital said in a statement shared with KGW, given that Peace Hair is involved in litigation, or Peace Health, sorry, it's unfortunate we're unable to share more facts about this situation. You freaking unalive or got someone to unalive the wrong person. They're not even related. This is not a like, my bad, let me give you a free coupon for your next, critical illness. This is someone pulled a plug of their not family member. This is bad. Now, a state investigation into the matter revealed that the mix up started when Beeler gave his own identification to paramedics instead of his roommates. A hospital registrar then identified the patient with Beeler's ID and entered it into the system without following hospital policy that requires a second identifier, according to the state. Now, Peace Health staff was given remedial education, and the case was closed after the state determined that the hospital resolved the issue. The families also filed a separate suit against the emergency medical service company, the county medical examiner, and the funeral home, and rightly so. I mean, this is a lot of trauma. It's a lot to have to get into the mindset that you might have to make that choice for someone, and it's incredibly daunting and overwhelming. And welcome Yodo's mom and Jenny 8675309 Alabama Rose. Yeah, I have a feeling this was a full case of cover your behindular area. Well, things are heating up even more. It's a battle of the man buns. Justin Baldoni demands Disney Marvel preserve all documents relating to Ryan Reynolds' nice pool in Deadpool and Wolverine amid Blake Lively's legal battle. Apparently, it does not end with them. The fallout radius of Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's legal battle continues to spread, with Marvel president Kevin Feige, Disney CEO Bob Iger, and director Tim Miller becoming the latest industry figures swept into the drama. On January 7th, Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, sent a litigation hold letter to Feige and Iger in connection with his client's anticipated claims against Ryan Reynolds, Lively, and other unnamed parties. Variety has viewed a copy of the letter, which calls on the studio to preserve all relevant documents and data with regards to Baldoni. The move may come as a surprise given that It Ends With Us, the film at the center of the Lively Baldoni rift, was released by Sony and had nothing to do with Disney. But Baldoni's attorney believes that Lively's husband, Ryan Reynolds, was flagrantly mocking Baldoni in a sequence in Marvel's Deadpool and Wolverine, which was released by Disney in July. The sequence features Reynolds playing Nice Pool, an oafish alternative, version of the eponymous hero Deadpool, saying such lines as, "Where in the God's name is the intimacy coordinator?" and complimenting Lady Pool for snapping back into shape after giving birth. Lively, who cameoed in the tentpole as Lady Pool, recently accused Baldoni of sexually harassing and fat-shaming her postpartum body on the set of, It Ends With Us. When Deadpool points out Nice Pool's misogyny in the scene, the latter replies, "It's okay, I identify as a feminist." Now, during development, production, and marketing of It Ends With Us, a drama about DV, Baldoni often touted his credentials as a feminist and ally to women. Marvel and Disney declined to comment, as did an attorney for Reynolds and Lively. Friedman could not be reached for comment. He is believed to be one of the many industry figures whose home was destroyed in the Pacific Palisade fires, though. The litigation hold letter sent the days the fires began called for Disney and Marvel to preserve, quote, any and all documentation relating to the development of the Nice Pool character, as well as communications relating to the development, writing, and filming of storylines and scenes featuring Nice Pool. A letter called for the studio to retain all documents relating or reflecting a deliberate attempt to mock, harass, ridicule, intimidate, or bully Baldoni through the character of Nice Pool. Reynolds, who was a writer, producer, and star of Deadpool Wolverine, has never addressed if there was any connection between Nice Pool and Baldoni, even as fans suspected that was, that all along before the current legal clash between the parties has spawned 3 lawsuits to date. On December 31st, Baldoni and 9 others sued the New York Times for $250 million over its story that heavily relied on a letter filed with the California Civil Rights Department by Lively that accused the director of sexual harassment and carrying out a retaliatory online campaign. The group accused the Times of using cherry picked and doctored communications, stripped of context necessary and deliberately spliced to mislead. The complaint also claimed that Lively was the one who embarked on a strategic and manipulative smear campaign on her own and used false allegations to assert unilateral control over every aspect of the production. Now, during an appearance on the Megyn Kelly show on January 7th, Friedman referenced the Nice Pool character. There is no question it relates to Justin. I mean, anybody that watched that hair bun, Friedman said. He also questioned why Reynolds would use his wife's alleged sexual harassment for comedic fodder. If anyone is seriously sexually harassed, you don't make fun of it. It's a serious issue. The litigation hold letter, which was written ahead of anticipated claims relating to Reynolds and Lively's tortious interference with contract and civil extortion, goes well beyond the Nice Pool character and implies a Lively Baldoni style rift exists between Reynolds and Miller, who directed the first Deadpool movie but did not return for the sequel. The letter instructs the studio to preserve any documents and data relating to complaints made against Ryan Reynolds by any person, including without limitation Tim Miller, and Miller's departure from Deadpool 2, as well as any instances of Reynolds exerting creative control on any film project. Now, the litigation hold letter often precedes litigation. Baldoni has not sued Lively or Reynolds, but Friedman has indicated that a suit is imminent, telling Kelly that he plans to sue the Hollywood power couple into oblivion. Following publication of the Times story, Baldoni was dumped by WME, the agency he shared with Lively and Reynolds. WME also, reps Miller. So this looks like it is going into full on Amber Heard craziness. I don't know who's going to step on a bee or poop on the mattress this time. But if it could be all people, all men who wear men buns, I'd be okay. So there you go. It looks like this is another case I'm going to have to get into, but it does look like this is going to go and be absolutely a dumpster fire, and I'm kind of here for it. Now, this is a very strange story, and I've done stories about this. I've kind of watched this case develop, and this is still the weirdest damn case I can not figure out. This child or this teenage boy was suspected in, the unaliving of his dad for self-defense. He went to live with his mom, now his mom's dead. It's a weird case. Mom, I'm not a psychopath. 18 says he told his mother, I'm not this murderer, in a body cam clip captured months before he allegedly stabbed her to death. 18 accused of stabbing his mom to death in Florida 2 years after claiming to unalive his dad in self-defense can be heard talking to his grandmother in a newly released body cam video about how he told his mother, quote, I'm not a murderer, less than a year before allegedly taking her life. I was saying, Mom, I'm not a psychopath. Colin Griffith, 17, can be heard telling his grandmother in a body cam video captured by a deputy with the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office and released by local Fox affiliate WFX or TX on Tuesday. "I'm not a murderer," he recalled saying to his mother, Catherine Griffith, 39, during a fight they were having in November 2023, which prompted the police to be called and led to him being arrested for DV. "I'm just trying to peacefully leave or peacefully coexist. And she kept telling me to shut up and shut up. And when I wouldn't shut up, she hit me," Griffith alleged. Now, Griffith, who is charged with first-degree murder, was in the back of a police car while speaking to his grandmother during the video. He can be heard telling the deputy that he's in a constant state of fight or flight, and he was worried that he might attack his mother. "If I think she's going to do something, even if she's not, I might act," Griffith says. "I'm not going to, like, go crazy or anything. I'm not sure." The deputy goes on to ask, "If you're not sure if you'll hurt your mom?" Colin replies, "Only if she tries to hurt me." Now, Griffith is behind bars in Polk County after allegedly killing his mother on September 8th, according to police officials. The slaying took place at a 55 and over community in Auburndale, some 50 miles east of Tampa, where Griffith's grandmother is also a resident, and where the body cam footage was captured November 2023. Griffiths allegedly called the police after murdering his mother and told the dispatcher they'd had a very long fight and she fell on a knife. Cops said they found Catherine stabbed multiple times in the neck. So she just fell multiple times. Make it make sense. Now, Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd said at a press conference in September that her injuries could not have been accidental. The medical examiner said it's not reasonable or plausible that she died the way he said she did. It just doesn't happen. In February 2023, Griffith allegedly killed his father in Oklahoma, but avoided prosecution after successfully claiming self-defense. When Florida deputies encountered him after his mother's murder, he was allegedly acting calm, cool, and collected, according to Judd, who said that he showed no remorse. He looked at the deputy in the eye and said, "I know my rights and I want an attorney." You know what? He finally, let's go. I'm afraid I wouldn't be very sympathetic. And I don't begrudge anyone covering it, but I feel like his kids, and I don't know that I could do it in a respectful way because of my having lost. Oh, okay, sorry. Thank you. Good, because I was gonna have to go into my Oprah answer, and I didn't wanna have to do that. So, I'll just say, I'd rather not. Thank you so much for the offer. Colin did not wanna come back home. She told the deputy, "You don't have a choice, you have to go back home. I don't wanna go to foster care, even when the corporal said that foster care wasn't good for you, you have to, work with your mother." So, this does look like it's going to be a big issue. Now, there is the kind of wrinkle that 2 months before the incident in which he unalived his mother, he was involuntary committed for mental health reasons, uh, with threats of violence toward his mother, so this could be a mental health case, but I look at this being interesting, and I look at them going back and possibly looking at that self-defense case, especially with this being such a kind of random but odd story. It's just really weird. Well, I mean, we've all done knowed it. We've knowed it for years. Hell, if South Park alleged it, I say we all knew it. We've known it for years. A former Diddy bodyguard alleges that the hip hop mogul, quote unquote, could have been involved in Notorious B.I.G.'s death in a new documentary. Oh, here we go. 28 years after his death at 24, the unsolved murder of the notorious B.I.G. remains a notorious mystery. And the new documentary, Diddy Making of a Bad Boy, which premieres on Peacock Tuesday, addresses rumors that the disgraced hip hop mogul might have had involvement in the drive by shooting of his prized rap protege on March 9th, 1997. Quote, "So, did he directly have something to do with it? He could have," says former Diddy bodyguard Gene Deal, who is one of the members of his inner circle, interviewed in the documentary that arrives as the jailed star, born Sean Combs, awaits his trial on trafficking and racketeering charges. Deal, who worked for Diddy from 1991 to 2005, was with his then boss and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame rapper the night of his murder after the Vibe magazine post Soul Train Awards party in Los Angeles. In the making of a bad boy, he claims that Diddy was allegedly acting suspiciously in the days before the murder. In the week in which Biggie was murdered, he was acting real anxious and trying to get Biggie at his party, says Deal. And what was crazy was Big was telling people he had to be in London, but Puff was telling people he ain't going to be in London that whole week. Now, Deal recalls that he was surprised to find out about the Vibe party on the same night. I'm sitting up at the Beverly Hills Hotel and I get a phone call. It's about 9 o'clock. And they say, "Gene, get ready. We're going to the Vibe party," he shares. And I was like, "We're going to this party. We don't have no security." Deal laid out his reasons for thinking that going to the party was a bad idea 6 months after the East Coast West Coast rap rivalry had escalated with Tupac Shakur's murder, in which both Diddy and Biggie were rumored to allegedly be involved. I said, "Yo, Puff, I got some intel, bruh." I am the worst person to ever do these dramatic readings. Yo, man, if we go to this party tonight, one of us gonna get killed, somebody gonna die, because now we a East Coast, West Coast beef, says Deal. And he said, "Yo, Gene, I don't wanna hear that so we jump in the car. Welcome. Welcome to Mo Speaks Rap. Deal details what happened after leaving the Vibe party at the Peterson Automotive Museum and heading to another Soul Train Awards after party in two separate cars. Uh, Here we go. "I was in a car with Puff. Big was in his own car. And the next thing you know, you hear pow, 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 pow." I shouldn't be laughing at this. I shouldn't laugh, but just me saying, I know, but I don't know if I can even say that because I'm pretty sure that's it. We're starting East Coast, West Coast beef right here. Big Mo, the notorious MO, is right here. Uh, Many a year, Deal says, I couldn't fight back the tear knowing that young man was murdered. And it's supposed to be such a heartfelt line because he is saying how he's thought about, many times over the years that he saw a person unalived right in front of him. But when I read it, it just doesn't have the same impact. The Notorious B.I.G. and Diddy performed together on the 1997 hit Mo Money, Mo Problems. "I told them, whatever y'all do, do not let him go to sleep. Talk to him, keep him up, don't let him go to sleep, keep him talking." After Biggie was shot 4 times while sitting in his GMC Suburban, they told the hypnotized rapper that they were rushing him to the hospital. And Biggie said, "Just do it. That's the last thing I heard Big say," said Deal. And they said the hospital was 2 blocks away, and that's the longest 2 blocks I've ever seen in my life. Once they got to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, Deal broke it to Diddy that the news was not good. So Puff ran out the hospital door and he grabbed my arm and he said, "Gene, we gotta pray. We gotta pray. We gotta pray." And I knocked his hands off of me and I said, "Pray for what? That N-word dead, bruh. That N-word." Look, I will do many things for my dramatic readings, but not things that will get me nuked. He was stunned. He seemed like he had this look in his eye, like he couldn't believe it, that he was dead, and he couldn't believe it. Making of a bad boy makes it clear that Sean Combs has always denied having any involvement of the murders of Christopher Wallace, Biggie, or Tupac. But then again, he also denied, having weird sex parties. So, lie to me once, shame on you. Lie to me again, I'm not gonna buy that you're not innocent or that you're innocent. Now, Diddy's attorneys have also responded to the allegations in the documentary, saying that Sean Combs unequivocally denies the baseless allegations that are being circulated in connection with this documentary. Are really careful about making sure that we aren't saying, necessarily that these things happened or that these things are necessarily true. Ari Mark, executive producer of Making of a Bad Boy, told the Post. But, he added, it felt off. Something didn't feel right, and it's felt that there's more to the story. Well, John Daly, a golfer, is undergoing emergency surgery but does vow to return to golf again soon. Is this the golfer now, correct me if I'm wrong, but is this the golfer that kinda goes around in really loud Hawaiian shirts, is drinking a beer, and just kinda like the good old boy of golf, or am I mixing him up? Y'all know I don't know sports, so and that includes golf. I don't know golf either. John Daly had emergency hand surgery this week. The legendary golfer shared the scary news on Instagram with a photo from a hospital in Florida. Emergency hand surgery, thankful it went great, and Dr. McClemens for saving me. Back playing no time. In another post, which was tagged in Tampa, Florida, Daly again thanked those who performed the operation, vowing to get back to the course soon. Wishing John Daly a speedy recovery, the tour for golfers 50 years and older wrote on a post on X. It has been a rough few months for the 58-year-old Daly, who saw his $1.4 million Clearwater, Florida home get destroyed in Hurricane Helene in October. Okay, I'm digging this guy's pants. Are those roosters or cows? What the heck is on that? I have no idea, but I'm loving the pants. Roughly a half a dozen of his friends and family had their properties ruined by the storm, too. I'm just glad everyone is healthy. That's the main thing. He told PGA Tour's website at the time. You live in Florida, you have to understand that's going to happen, but not like this. I didn't think it would be this bad. Daly, who is known for drinking and cigarette smoking on the golf course, was diagnosed with bladder cancer in 2020. I mean, why else would you golf? You get to have a cigar and you get to have booze next to you and you get to ride around in a little cart. I mean, if I were a guy and I were good at golf, once I'm retired, you will never see me off the golf course. But seeing as how I'm not a guy, don't do well at any sort of coordinated sport, okay, I would be drunk on a golf cart, but there's also, I don't need to be. He did undergo surgery to remove the cancer, but said that there was a strong chance of the disease returning. Now, lucky for me, they called it early, but bladder cancer is something that I don't know all the details, he said. But it doesn't look like it will go away. We'll just have to see what happens. Maybe there will be a miracle. He did join the PGA Tour in 1991, winning 5 tournaments over his career, including 2 major championships, the 1991 PGA Championships and the 1995 Open Championship. So there you go. Learn something new every day. Well, it's the fight no one cared about against Browse and BS. But they've apologized, so aren't we happy? Brooke Shields says that Tom Cruise eventually apologized for his ridiculous rant about postpartum depression. In her new memoir, Brooke Shields writes a book. Buy it, please. Actually, it's titled Brooke Shields is Not Allowed to Get Old. Thoughts on Aging as a Woman. Sounds like a real page turner. Does it have a semi shirtless man in it anywhere? Because this is not a book for Mo. The Mother of the Bride star reflects on her 2005 feud, which began when the acclaimed actor and famous Scientologist delivered an unhinged rant on Today, Matt Lauer, about his rejection of psychiatry, deeming Shields irresponsible for taking antidepressants after the birth of her first child. There is no such thing as chemical imbalance, says a very short little 5'2" man. Uh, Cruz said at the time, she doesn't understand the history of psychiatry, but L. Ron Hubbard. Again, Tom, I'm just throwing this out there for a friend, but you're a Scientologist and believed in L. Ron Hubbard, and I believe South Park kind of really screwed that for you guys. I don't know that he's 5'2". I always just make fun of him. If you really want to be annoyed with him, now look at this. He has a mid tooth. Now, I don't know why this bothers me so very much, but he has a tooth that is directly lined with the center of his face. And but it's off center because I don't know. Anywho, he has a middle tooth. Reflecting on it now, Shields quips that Cruz's stance was interesting coming from someone without ovaries. The actress went on to say that the attack left her gobsmacked and shocked enough that, she was not going to keep quiet. Had Tom taken a public swing at me before I became a mother, I probably would have stayed quiet, Shield admits. I would have ignored his ridiculous rant. I might have just been content to sit back while this very famous man hijacked my experience to advance his own deluded agenda. I would have been satisfied that his behavior would speak for itself. But she continued, Cruz's rant came a month after her 40th birthday as Shields finally began to embrace self confidence. I was emboldened by life and. Okay, look, babe, two arrogant Hollywood a-holes decided to have a moral fight. They both feel like they got off better on it, but now they have decided to, hug and kiss and make up. The end of story. What is up with her eyebrows still? It's called tweezers. We have them for a reason, ma'am. And you with your middle tooth. Both of you just annoy me. In a kind of cool, like, how much are those worth now? Story, we've got a Christmas gift from 1978 being found behind the wall of an Illinois home. Christmas came about 46 years late for an Illinois man who was performing renovations at his childhood home when he found a present that had fallen behind a wall in 1978. Tim King, 53, owner of T. King Construction Services in Lombard, said he was renovating the bathroom at his parents' home when he found something inside the wall. We took out a medicine cabinet before we drywalled, and I thought I better just look in there to make sure nothing's back there, he told People. And there it was. King discovered a wrapped Christmas gift that had been intended for him to open on Christmas in 1978. He said that his parents used to hide, gifts in the home's attic, and this one must have fallen into the crawl space without anyone noticing. And he got some Hot Wheels Thunder Jets. I mean, them things are probably worth some money. King opened the gift in front of his parents, revealing a set of now vintage Matchbox toy airplanes that his mother had no memory of buying. So I have one sister, and my mom has always been very picky about getting us the exact same amount of gifts, he said. So we've all been joking that I've been screwed out of one of my presents for 46 years. So that's cute. And now he can put him on his desk. Well, okay. If I got a present and I found a vintage something that was expensive, I would probably have to sit down and think if I was going to keep it and play with it or sell it for, adult responsibility stuff. Well, I can tell you this has never happened to me. I was fully aware all 6 times I was pregnant. It was not a shock. But I have heard that this happens to people. So, in Weird But True, our final story, I thought my appendix burst, but I was actually pregnant and gave birth 40 minutes later. Again, never had this experience. A Scottish woman who thought she had a burst appendix was shocked to find out she was pregnant and then to give birth 40 minutes later. Anna Jackson, 22, started getting pain in her abdomen, but she had put it down to getting Aunt Flo in. But when the pain started gearing up and she feared she might have a burst appendix, she rushed to Forth Valley Royal Hospital in Lambert, Scotland with her partner, Ewan Smith, 22. Now, doctors noticed a swelling on her abdomen and asked if she could take a pregnancy test, but Anna said she was still clueless when they said it was positive. She asked if they could do anything, but was told she was in labor and promptly taken to the labor ward. Now, Anna gave birth to her daughter, Talia Smith, at 3:58 a.m., weighing 7 pounds on March 22nd, 2024, just 40 minutes after learning she was pregnant. The new mom says it felt like an episode of Grey's Anatomy for at least 2 to 3 weeks before it actually hit. But both Thalia, now 8 months old, and Anna are both happy and healthy and settling into family life. Anna, who is working for a live music venue from Stirling, Scotland, said, I didn't have any symptoms at all. Okay, there is an entire person just squirming around in you. Now, I hesitate to call myself an expertologist on many fields, but in the field of being MFing knocked up, I can tell you, as I've done it 6 times, once you feel an entire human being squirming around like they're having their own indoor mosh pit, you can't mistake that for gas ever again. I thought maybe I had an appendicitis and it burst. They think she was pressed right up against my spine, and I think she was straight up and down hidden because I was sitting there in shock. It took 3 weeks to come to reality. Uh, she said that she didn't have any symptoms leading up to birth. She had really bad acid reflux and got really bloated if she ate, but she figured she was lactose intolerant, so she was eating too much dairy. And then her stomach would go down or back down again. I okay. No. I just I don't think so. I call all the bullshit. The hormonal changes I put down to getting my, cycle for that month. But on March 30 or 21st, she woke up in the early morning hours in pain. She went to work in Glasgow all day, and it wasn't until the end of her shift that the pain got really bad. It got to be about 10 or 11, and that's when it started really gearing up. If you had an appendix that was critical, you would feel a lot of pain and then no pain, because that's when your appendix ruptures, and that's how people die because they're like, "Oh, this hurts so bad," and then, "Oh, I don't feel anything. That's great." Now, I do know contractions, and contractions are a sumbitch, and you know when those are happening. Those are not like anything you've felt before. You're not gonna mistake them for a Charlie horse. These are not things that you're going to be confused about. Now, what you might be confused about if you're a first-time mom is the difference between Braxton Hicks contractions, so practice contractions, and then labor contractions. Now, those are hard to kind of figure when you're a first-timer and even, you know, other times, but this is some BS. Now, Anna still drove herself home and woke Ewan to get up and, take her to the hospital. Now, Ewan's mom, Karen, 58, uh, you know, who the couple were living with at the time, saw how much the girl was in pain and got her an out of hours appointment. When they arrived at the hospital at 2:30 a.m. and were seen around 3 a.m., thinking that maybe she had a burst appendix or kidney stones. And they kept making jokes about being pregnant. I said, "Don't be silly." All of a sudden, I started waddling. They were doing all these tests, and I had a little bit of a bump. I thought I was bloated. It wasn't really bump shaped, it was a bit high up. And they asked me if I had that swelling in my abdomen for long, and I said it'd only been about 2 weeks at most. Now, Anna was asked to do a chemical pregnancy test, and it came back positive. So they probably had her do a urine test, and that will come back, and she might have assumed that she was fairly recently pregnant. But this just I call BS on these women. I do. And I know every pregnancy is different. I have had marked differences between this, but this chick is telling us that she had a 7-pound baby, didn't know it, like, no one saw her stomach, because in this picture, she doesn't look okay, I don't know how to say this not indelicately, but I'm going to try to say this as delicately as possible. She doesn't look to be the stature and maybe body style where a 9-month pregnancy could be mistaken as just regular body shape. She is not an apple body style. No, I think she's just a regular person who thought she was having kidney problems and and then she got a baby. She said that she was clueless, and asked, "What does this mean? What does this mean that I'm pregnant?" And apparently the medical yes, that is her, Jeff or Boss. What? I wanted to call you Joss. Okay. So Edie says, "Nope, nope, and nope. I still wore my same regular pants at 8 months with barely looking pregnant, but I still knew I was pregnant. I never had that. I never ever had a concealable belly. I swear with number 6, it was just like, "Look, we're gonna look 6 months pregnant from the get, okay?" Like, forget it. There is no hope. Just stay in maternity clothes, ma'am. Anna was in shock as doctors and nurses rushed into the room, and she was taken to the A&E ward because she was fully dilated. She was, you know, taken up there. She didn't have time to think, but it looks like she is a cutie patootie little girl now, having fun, going to the aquarium. So glad that that worked out for them. And she's much more fun to play with than, a burst appendix. Oh, wow. Okay, Penny. I never knew I was pregnant till I was 3 days away from the start of my 2nd trimester, and I only found out because I was gonna have surgery that day. Wow. I mean, look, women's bodies are completely crazy, so I get it. I say that I don't get it, but I do get it, and Deborah Thiel, you are right with it happens my 3rd baby, I didn't know until I was 8.5 months along. I had an ultrasound, and even the doctor believed it was just a lot of stress. So I get it. She You can go through a lot. So, you don't have to have your water break. In fact, waters most of the time need to be broken by a doctor, when you're in the hospital, but most women don't have their water break at home, or at least I never did of the 6 times that I did it. So, it's just, crazy craziness, and women's bodies are all the crazy. I mean, we can't even figure out what temperature we wanna be half the time for at least 5 minutes in a row. So I totally get it. Totally get it. I would just like to go ahead and put a bug in God's ear that I'd rather not be humbled for my assumption that I always know when I'm pregnant. So we could just skip that. I don't need 7. Thank you. Just telling me just telling you universe for a friend. I do not need, you know, I do not need to be proven wrong. I'm okay. Look, all of the children are out of diapers. I just need it to stay that way until I get grandkiddos. So have a lovely day, you guys. I will be redirecting you to If you enjoyed me doing dramatical reading, I will be doing a dramatic reading of Chad Daybell's romance to Lori Vallow that introduced all of us to the cringelarious, well phrased loin fire. So if you'd like to, because loin fire, I don't know how that's never not going to be funny, but loin fire will always be funny. So I will redirect you to that. You do not have to go there. I know that Baker is covering a trial that is current. So if you want to be on playback, team, that is fine. Have a lovely day. Like and subscribe if you want. Yes, the Mormon porn. Definitely. We can add that to the rotation. Have a lovely day, guys. Bye. See you in just a little bit.